What's up, guys? It's Matt from RC Overload. I got a little update for you guys on the Traxxas Revo 3.3. The update is everything's getting pushed back a little bit further. My plans for it are kind of at a standstill. I discovered it needs all new bearings all the way through after reassembling the whole front bulkhead. The outer hubs bearings are completely, for the most part, seized. So, unfortunately, everything's kind of getting pushed back. I gotta wait a little bit before I can get those bearings. But in the meantime, I still do need to do a few things, like cleaning out and greasing up the transmission, which I'm gonna do later on. I don't know if I'll make a video or not of that. Depends on how many people are interested in seeing what the inside of that two-speed reverse transmission looks like. So instead today I thought it'd be kind of interesting to tear down the Traxxas Revo 3.3 motor and have a look inside, see what we got going on. It still feels a little gummed up, so I figured a good cleaning will hopefully get this thing back up and running 100%. Traxxas Revo 3.3 motor. This thing's a beast. It is very powerful. I've drove these things before. They're extremely fun. They have a lot of torque, an excellent power band, and they are a lot of fun. So, but this one is looking pretty rough, pretty dirty. There's quite a bit of dirt built up down inside the head here. So what I'm going to do is I'll bring you guys in a little bit closer so you guys can see everything that's going on. I'm going to do a kind of an overview just for some of the new guys that don't really know the different parts on the motor and what they do and how it operates in a sense. Just a basic overview. And then we're going to start tearing it apart and getting inside and seeing what it actually looks like inside and seeing how disgusting it is. So, yeah. What are you waiting for? Come on, get a little closer. Alright, now that you guys finally got a little bit closer, I can really start showing you guys this motor. Now this is very similar to a dirt bike or a lawnmower or a weed whacker motor, in the sense that it only has one cylinder going up and down in here. It does have a crank that goes inside of this section of the motor. Here you have your flywheel, okay? This actually is what rotates. On a car you would have your starter attached to the flywheel to start it. But in this case, we have an electric motor that has a series of gears that goes down to the back side of the crank, and which is what operates the motor to turn it, to start it. Now these don't have spark plugs or wires or cap and rotor. What it is a glow plug. And let me grab you one. So again, guys, this is all just for the new guys, you know, that are learning. This is a glow plug, okay? Not taking out the package because I don't want to ruin it just yet. But inside, if you guys can see, inside that little hole, I know it's kind of hard to see, is a little spring. And that spring actually glows when heated by either the wire from the Easy Start system or from a glow plug igniter. When it glows, it gets hot. As that piston comes up, it creates combustion from the pressure and the heat inside. And that's what shoots the piston down. But because there is so much heat and power and how quickly that piston moves up and down, you don't need a wire on this glow plug. It will always stay hot, so it always keeps it running. Now, here is your carburetor. Also your throttle, okay? If you guys can take a look down inside of there, see how that opens and closes? That's your throttle. The more open it is, the faster that motor is going to go. Now here, let me kind of straighten things out. This is your high speed needle. This is what you're going to adjust if you need to richen it or lean the motor out. This is your low speed needle right here. And your idle on this motor, you see that little screw right above my finger there? That is what controls your idle. We also have the exhaust manifold, okay, and then we just have a pipe to shoot it down below the body. Now this head has fins that allows air to pass through to help keep the motor cool and at its certain temperature. Alright, so now that the overview is done of the basic operation of how this motor works and all its components, let's start tearing it down. So first things first, I want to actually inspect real quick here the clutch that's underneath the pinion gear. And to do so, as you guys can see, there's a C-clip or an E-clip. The easiest way to pop that out is get a flathead that's the size of one of those little notches that are in there, and just twist it and pry it out. So there's the C-clip, okay, or E-clip, however you guys want to pronounce it or call it, whatever. Okay, so now there is a spacer or washer that sits right on top. Okay, that sits right over the bearing. So let's take a quick gander. Doesn't look too bad in there. No real heat marks. There's a little line, but it's from the spring. So what I'll do is I'll actually spray that out, clean it up. Alright, take the other bearing out. Don't want to lose that. And let's take a look at our clutch. Yeah, my exact thoughts. That clutch is a little worn down. For the most part, it should actually make a complete circle. And it doesn't. It's almost ovalish. So, time to get a new clutch. Okay, so the next part is we're going to cut those zip ties right off so we can pull the exhaust, get that out of the way. So we're going to actually flush this out with soap and water. Get all the crud that's built up inside of it out. Okay, now for the tricky part. Alright, so we're going to take the easy start motor off first. Perfect size. So you got 1, 2, 3, and then the whole thing pops right off. Alright, so I am seeing a little bit of some grease on there. You see that? That is your one-way bearing. It only goes one way when it's engaged. That way you don't turn the motor in the wrong direction if you have the polarity wrong, so forth. Blah, blah, blah. So there you go. There's your easy start motor, or starter, on a real car. Gonna need to clean all this up. That's the inside, alright? This piece of metal right here, this rod or tube, whatever you want to call it, is actually connected to the crank on the inside. That's what actually engages it to turn. And I'll show you guys what I mean when I get this part off. So wipe this down. Okay. Alright, so before I go any further, now that I got a little more access, I'm just going to try to clean up the entire motor. so that I can get as much of the dirt off, so I don't chance it getting inside of the motor, ruining a bearing, scoring the piston sleeve or piston. I don't want to chance any of that. So okay guys, so I just cleaned it up a little bit, got as much of the dirt off of it that I could, for right now anyways. But I wanted to show you something. Inside the kit, when you first pick up your Revo, it comes with this tool. See how it's got a ball end? I'm trying to get it to focus in on it. Anyways, it's got a ball tip, okay? You have to use this piece, this tool, in order to get that screw. See how there's absolutely no room to get to it? You won't be able to get to it at all with any of the other tools unless you have this one, which can come in, let's try to show you guys, at an angle. See how I have a little bit of room to move around? So pop that in there, and there we go. Freeze it right on up. Pretty looking manifold. Pretty burnt inside, which is normal. But we're going to clean that out later. Alright, so, it's tinting it blue inside of this. I'm trying to see if I can't get the light to shine on it a little better. All inside of there is actually blue from the fuel. So, best way to help clean that out is you can either take Q-tips and go in there, which I probably will do here in a minute, or take a paper towel and just shove it inside of there and twist. And that'll help try to get rid of all that excess fuel, unburnt fuel in there, and kind of help clean it off a little bit. Now this is the reason why I wanted to wear gloves, because I didn't feel like getting this messy today. Alright, so now we'll go in there with a Q-tip real quick, clean around the edges. Please note that there is a O-ring in here. You don't need to replace it unless it's torn or you have fuel, you see exhaust burns or fuel seeping out of the sides, either side. Then you will have to worry about needing to replace it. But otherwise, it's perfectly fine to sit in there. Just make sure before you go to put it on that it is sitting flush when you put everything back together. Alright. Next, I'm going to take off the carburetor. And to do that, there's one nut. Okay? Well, the toolkit does not have it, so this is the supplied tool in your tool bag when you purchase it. The smaller end fits perfectly on that nut. Oh, sorry, bring it down a little more. You don't need to take it all the way out, just enough to loosen it, because you wiggle it back and forth until it pops off. Voila, there is your carburetor. There's that throttle that I was telling you about. Okay. There's an O-ring. Fuel into the high speed, goes down inside the chamber, goes in here, and then comes out. Very simple system. So while I got this out, spray it again with some glass cleaner all over it. Take a new rag, because the other one's pretty much used up. And we're just going to wipe this down as well. Remember to make sure you don't lose the O-ring. That's right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some WD-40 and I'm going to shoot it all inside of here, all over the high-speed nozzle, and just kind of let it sit there, kind of work everything in a little bit. Don't need much, because it's just going to pour right back out. Okay. WD-40 is not going to harm it, guys. Not one bit. So we're just going to work that a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm opening and closing it to allow the WD-40 to work itself in. Wipe the excess off. Shove my paper towel up in there. Okay. Looks pretty damn good to me. Alright, so the next part. Removing the cylinder head. First we gotta get the right tool. Alright, so there's going to be 5 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's going to take this plastic trim off. Once you get access underneath here, there's going to be 5 more screws located in the same spots further down here that you're going to need to loosen up and pull off in order to get this head to come off. Okay, so let's do that real quick here.